today now. So as I was saying earlier, this race in the PNP where so picture this. I don't want to say gymkhana because it could really be that though. But a gymkhana is like a festival, racing races involving about animals, yeah, four-legged animals. It's not just horses. So you can have a goat race. You can't even have dog race. Well, dog race is a serious thing, but you can even have a goat race, a cow race, donkey race, mule race, horse race. But a gymkhana is just something like that way. You know, it's racing and everything. It's a bit of a gymkhana right now because you have all kinds of runners lining up. You're not quite sure who will face the starter, and if it'll be a race that you have to describe as a gymkhana contest because it have one horse, one thoroughbred horse, it has one mule, one donkey, one dog, one goat, or you don't know if it'll be a race of four thoroughbreds, two thoroughbreds, three, yeah. Golding has to be designated a thoroughbred. Obviously, he's the mantle holder. He's the man they're trying to wrest control of the leadership from, and then we don't know who will challenge. Or we don't know if it's a dog, goat, or, you know? Yeah. So, holding with Golding. And again, before you say NNN create the groups, we didn't do any such thing. We are just working with information from people close to the action who are saying that, boy, this is how it is shaping up. So they say, to defend his title, Mark Jefferson Golding can guarantee support from Angela Brown Burke, Dr. Angela Brown Burke, Ian Hales, Dr. Dayton Campbell, Peter Bunting, Nikisha Burchell, George Anthony Hilton, Wavell Hines, Lothan Cousins, and Golding himself would make 9 in holding with Golding. They say forward with Crawford can count on the support at this moment in speaking. Remember, when there's a long time between now and September 2027, you know. Yeah, and a lot can change. We could come to September 2027 and there's a coronation, you know, an election with only one candidate. Yeah, it could be a battle royal between 2 or among 3, 4, 5, you know. It could be. And these names can shift around. It can shift around next week. But on this day in sports, this is what we're being told. So, including Mark Jefferson Golding, holding with Golding as 9. They say the fence sitters are Julian Robinson, the big surgeon, Dr. Alfred Dawes, Natalie Nita Garvey, Mikhail Phillips, and Richard Azan. Undecided, not showing them hand, not committing either way, because what this is saying clearly is that it's going to be a 2-horse race. And perhaps it is so because to have more runners in the race would be to fragment the votes. You know, you want one man take 4 votes from someone who would have won with those 4 had they been cast for him or her. But because the person's loyal to when they cast those 4 for you, it tilt the balance of the race. So a lot of considerations go into these things. So based on what we're told, 2 hard camps. So I've given you holding with Golding with 9 members, including Mark Golding himself. 5 in the undecided camp. They say Julian Robinson, Dr. Alfred Dawes, Natalie Nita Garvey, Mikhail Phillips, and Richie Azan. Forward with Crawford now, they say, has, at this point, Dennis Gordon, Philip Paulwell, Dr. Kenneth Russell, Heather Miller Bennett. Did I say Dr. Kenneth Russell? Is he Dr. Kenneth Russell? Yeah? Andrea Perkis, Denise Daly, Fitzjackson, Zuleika Jess, Rosie Shaw. See the problem now, they have Michael Phillips on the forward with Crawford, you know, so you have to cross that out because they're already put him in the undecided column. Dwayne Vaz, of course. I mean, if it's one man we know who's going to support Damion come hell or high water, it's going to be Dwayne Vaz. Chris Brown, who again, I mean, those three are very close. Dwayne Vaz, Chris Brown, Crawford, everybody knows. Those are three musketeers together. Omar Newell, the Central St. Mary MP, and Damion Crawford himself. So when you match it out, I know you remove Michael Phillips from forward with Crawford. Let's put him back in the undecided column where he was as the list was sent to us. So forward with Crawford has 13, including Crawford himself. And holding with Golding has 9, including Golding. And then the undecided has 5. Fighting over. But clearly, people alone who knows the next PNP president. Well, these people carry people along with them. So, he or she, if she enters the race, who has the support of the majority of MPs, stands to be able to pull together majority support from the people who support these MPs to gas up their vehicle. That's going to drive them to take custody of the key to the PNP. I see people in the chat saying people stab people, but don't say that yet. Don't say that yet, because again, you know why I usually I hold these things, you know. But this is a social media age. This will be all over the place. And this would have been all over the place without me mentioning it. And it's not because it would have been all over the place why I'm mentioning it. I am mentioning it because based on what we've been hearing over several weeks, several of these names and the camp they are aligned to, there's a consistency there. There are some things you can count on. You know Dr. Brown Burke is going to support Mark Jefferson Golding. You know Peter Bunting, you know where his loyalties are. And as I told you, you can guarantee unless something spectacular happens causing them to fall out. The trio of Vaz, Brown, and Crawford, close. In fact, you know, there's a custom, of course, when you do your sectoral debate, presentation as a minister of government, you invite everybody, all the parliamentarians to come and, you know, have a little refreshment after the presentation. And they say that the opposition MPs most likely to accept the invitation, Crawford, Brown, and Vaz, and part together. Yeah, so there are some more names that you just know that these people are going to go with that individual if it comes down to a race involving that individual. So that's why I'm taking the thing. Somebody says I've left out ISAT. Well, that tells the story. Nobody can read the rest. Nobody don't know, you know, where that hat will go. And I think that there's a doubling up here. So the doubling up is Michael Phillips. So I think that Michael Phillips' name is going to be in one of the camps. So perhaps it is, you know, that Michael Phillips really is in the Crawford camp. And where Michael Phillips is in the undecided camp, that should be Isaac Buchanan's name. But my lists don't have him on. And from what I've been told, because I've asked the question, so, you know, how is Portland look? The man said, boy, see the car there, and see the rest here. Close to him chest, so nobody knows. All right. Denzel M says, George, people saying Crawford team leaking info to NNN. So where is the other team leaking info to? Of course, that's nonsense. When this race takes shape, you're going to hear representatives of both camps here. And they'll be entertained, meaning they'll be accommodated rather. And they'll be given equal time and space to make the case their leader. And they'll make the case for why the other candidate or candidates should be avoided. And you'll hear them. Everybody will be heard. And nobody will be given more time than the other. So, yeah, people talk about people that leak info and all that. I mean, come on now. People have friends, people have people who they can depend on, who they can trust with information. And we're just playing the role that media plays all over the world. For matters like these, we keep our finger on the pulse, or at least we try to. And you try to communicate in such a way that you don't disadvantage one camp in an important undertaking such as this, because you are picking somebody who's potentially the next prime minister. It's a big, big race. And I know people say, boy, in fighting and this, that, and people say things, but it's the nature of politics. It's a highly ridiculous undertaking. Because if we're to go by the hard lists we've been given, anybody who says Crawford has to lionize Crawford and look to reduce Mark Golding to make the case that Crawford is the better man. And likewise, anybody who's supporting Mark Jefferson Golding will say, well, you can't compare this man to Damion Crawford. And they look to reduce Damion Crawford to support why they believe Mark is the only option and best option for the PNP at this time. That's the nature of the game. And some of you, the quicker you understand the nature of these things, the more you can direct your energies into analyzing the substance of what comes from the camps when they show their full selves, rather than raging at the fact that there are camps in the first place. It's wasted energy. Break time, back with more after this.